377. Dr. Farooq has correctly pointed out 377A, B, and whatever else there in terms of act against the order of nature is a colonial inheritance. If you look at civil law, the French law, when Napoleon drafted the code, he took out same-sex sexual conduct as a crime in 1810. Sodomy law, as we call it, 377A and B, was introduced in the, I think, 16th century, if I'm not wrong, and was only recently abolished in England in the 1950s or 1960s, after a gentleman by the name of Lord Wolfenden actually looked into this whole area, and he came up with the conclusion that public morality has no place when it comes to the criminal law. The law has no business in someone's private business. The issue of privacy. And in terms of what has happened in other jurisdictions, Human Rights Committee in looking into the Tasmanian Criminal Code, which is similar to our 377A and B, United States Supreme Court in looking into some of the state laws that are criminalizing same-sex sexual conduct, the European Court of Human Rights looking into the Northern Ireland criminal provisions. They've all struck down these provisions on two grounds. One, the issue of equality and non-discrimination, and the other is the issue of privacy. India, if you talk about homosexuality or LGBT issues as being Western value versus us, Eastern or Islamic civilization, look at India. India, the Delhi Supreme Court, sorry, the Delhi High Court struck down 377A and B, saying it's unconstitutional, partly because of the same reasons of equality and non-discrimination, but it also addressed the issue that by having such laws in the statute books, it hinders HIV/AIDS health schemes. So that is India. South Africa, okay, South Africa does have sexual orientation in its 1996 constitution when they did away with apartheid. But again, the South African Constitutional Court said that the Sodomy Laws Act cannot exist in the statute books by reason of non-discrimination, equality, and privacy. And you talk about other nations in Asia Pacific, if I can just tell you which countries do not criminalize same-sex sexual conduct. So just bear with me once I get the right page and then take you through the list of the countries so that you'll understand that this is not a Western versus Eastern issue. We start with Asia, Cambodia, China, India, Indonesia at the federal level, but some of the Indonesian provinces do have their own state laws on sodomy. Japan, Laos, Mongolia, Nepal, North Korea, Philippines, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam. Out of the 190 odd countries under the United Nations, I think only 76 still criminalize homosexuality as at 2011. And of the 76, the majority of them are Commonwealth countries. Why? Because of the whole colonial inheritance. Then we talk about Africa, apart from South Africa, Niger. Niger is a republic with a population of roughly 15 million, of which 80% are Muslims. Same-sex sexual activities between adults have never been criminalized. Then we have Burkina Faso. First time I'm hearing this country when I was doing my own research. 15.7 million population, 61% of the population are Muslims. Same-sex sexual activities between adults have never been criminalized. So there you have a snapshot, the laws of these other countries. Okay, and in terms of the statement made by two ministers, one who subsequently retracted it, that homosexuality is unconstitutional. I think ask yourselves, where is it in our federal constitution which says that sexual minorities are to be persecuted, prosecuted, humiliated, banished, exiled, whatsoever, imprisoned? Where does it say that? Okay, ask yourself that question. Okay, then let's talk about a case on transsexual. This is the decision of Justice James Fong, just bear with me on this final point. Justice James Fong, sorry, I don't talk about Justice James Fong decision, and now I'll talk about Iran very quickly. Here we are. J-G against Pengarah Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara. Okay, some of you may have heard of this case. The plaintiff in 1996 underwent a gender reassignment surgery in Thailand to become a female, and the plaintiff successfully applied to the High Court to be declared a female and to direct the NRD to change IC to reflect female gender. And the basis of the decision, heavy reliance on medical reports adduced by the plaintiff, and the judge affirmed that the plaintiff's physical, body and psychological thinking are that of a woman, and there's no justification to deprive the plaintiff of her right under Article 5.1 of the Federal Constitution, which states that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty save in accordance with law. Then we have Iran, which I accept has a different a branch of Islam, but in Iran, you can bear with me, in terms of transsexuals or transgender, Iran, they allow, there's a fatwa by committee which allows individuals with hormonal disorders to undergo sex change if they wish, as well as to change their birth certificates. And then he provided the first fatwa supporting sex change operations to correct sexual disorder in modern Iran. And this is a translation of the book that Khomeini himself wrote. If knowledge, I quote, if knowledge proves before the operation that inside is the opposite sex, and then when the operation does not change one sex for the other, but rather uncovers what was hidden, then there is no doubt concerning the necessity of putting into proper order the true sex and getting rid of the traces of provisional sex. So essentially on the issue of sexual orientation, it is the identity of the individual. I've spoken to friends who are members of the LGBT community. They are suffering. They are suffering. They are not, people in the LGBT community or Seksualiti Merdeka is not about promoting free sex. Marina Mahathir has written and spoken to death about what Seksualiti Merdeka is not about. It is about people wanting to come together to share their experiences of being victims of humiliation, discrimination, and persecution. That's what it's all about. Which is why I come back to the first question I posed. Surely at its lowest denomination, the right must be the right not to be humiliated, not to be spat on, not to be threatened with prosecution, then forced to give sexual favors to enforcement agency officers, forced to run out to the room, and then falling off the balcony or whatever, and meeting a death like that. I mean, it is very sad.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. I think Mr. Lim has made a very clear proposition to say that he's not actually acknowledging right to practice homosexuality, but he is saying that your right not to be humiliated should be protected. Right? Is that your line of work, sir?
You agree with my mouth? Like I said, I'm not here to tell you what my view is. I'm here to plant ideas in your head, so that for those of you who are close-minded and you're very sure it's all so wrong, to think about it again. That's all I'm asking for. Keep an open mind and think about some of the things that we are saying here, and make up your own minds about it.
All right. Thank you, sir. So we're going to go to the next round, which is Q&A session, the most weighted Q&A session, I believe. But before I pass the mic to the floor, I have one simple question again to each and every panelist we have on the stage. Okay, how do you illustrate our community, Malaysian community, your illustration of our community when we repeal Section 377? How do you illustrate our community?
Sure.
How do you picture our community upon the repeal of Section 377? After, I mean,
well, I don't think there'll be some huge celebration on the street. I mean, let's talk about law reform. I mean, can we put things in perspective in Malaysia? We, in the last few months, have gone through huge law reforms. All right? Let's talk about access to justice. Can you just bear with me? Sorry. Access to justice. I was telling to Ms. Shamayu that one fundamental change has taken place in our police station and our enforcement agencies, and the Malaysian public has yet to fully appreciate it. For the last 20 years, members of the criminal bar, in wanting to adequately represent their clients, are either sent on the runaround from station to station or arrested at police station. What has changed? Today, any Malaysian arrested, taken to the police station or IPD, the IO is under a positive obligation to send a fax to the legal aid center